Hello and welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Marin and here you will find a little beauty, a little books, and a little teaching content. So if that sounds like something you might enjoy, I would love for you to subscribe and stick around and join me in my little corner of YouTube. Today's video is going to be my October TBR featuring my usual wheel of TBR, but also my picks for Becca's Spookoplathon. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now in October, as I mentioned, I am going to still play my usual game, but you can see again we have a twist just like I did last month, which I'll talk about in a second. But I am also going to be participating in Becca's Spookoplathon, which is her spooky themed bookoplathon. She usually hosts Spookoplathon in September. She pushed it to October this year to make it more like spooky themed. So we're going to also play that on top of my wheel and hope that that doesn't bite me in the butt and give me like an insane number of books to read. But I wanted to really do both. I love Becca's Bookoplathon. I was really hoping she would host it this year. She did not do her 48-hour round in the spring, so I was a little concerned that she wasn't going to do it, but she did bring it back for October, so I have to participate. So what I'm going to do is spin the wheel first and then hope that I can fit those books into the prompts for Spookoplathon. If you are curious about her Spookoplathon readathon, I will leave her announcement video linked down below. There's like the game board, the cards that you can use, all of the rules, all of that. It's all linked in that video, so check that out if you would like to participate as well. But first we're going to go ahead and recap how I did in September. Now, if you watched my September TBR, you will know that I was trying to do what I was calling Series September, which turns out that is something that like 2 other people do every year. I didn't realize that, so, you know, credit to them for the name. I was just thinking it in my head because I have a lot of series books that I'm trying to read before the end of the year. So my Series September was a little bit different than theirs, and I did use my wheel to help pick what series books I was reading. So let's go ahead and go over the spins. So the first spin that I landed on was 23 in 2023, and for that I chose A Countess Below Stairs by Eva Ibbotson, which I did read. I vlogged it. I'll link it up above if you would like to check it out. The second spin also gave me 23 in 2023, and for that I was supposed to read Cleopatra A Life by Stacy Schiff. I don't know how to pronounce it. I have not read this yet, but I do still have a week left in September, and my hope is that I can get this read via audio in that week. So this should get done before the end of the month. If not, I'll just carry it over into like the first couple days of October. No big deal. Then we get into the series books that were chosen for me. So the first one was Shadowlands by Kate Bryan, which I did read. The second one was P.S. I Still Love You by Jenny Han, which I also read. The third one was Out of Sight, Out of Time by Allie Carter, which I also read. The fourth one was The Chalice of the Gods by Rick Riordan. That book has not come out yet. It comes out this Tuesday, so I will read it, but I can't read it yet because I don't have the book. So, you know, can't read what you don't have, but I don't think I'm gonna have any trouble getting it read. It's only like 200 something pages, and I've flown through like every other book by him that I've ever read. So that one should definitely get done by the end of the month without any trouble. And then the last spin landed on European Travel for the Monstrous Gentlewoman by Theodora Goss. This is very chunky, but I am almost finished. So I have just this little bit left. So this will also be finished by the end of the month. So that finishes up the recap. So now what I'm going to do is set up my wheel with my October picks. Now I told you October was another twist on the usual way that I play, and that is because I created a list of some spooky themed books that I would be interested in reading during the month of October, and I put the titles on cards, and what I'm going to do is set up the wheel with those cards. Now some of them are books that I need to read during the month, so I have my buzzword pick, the pick for the Literally Dead book club. I also have the next Nancy Drew book that I am trying to read, and I included some series books that would like fit the vibe of like spooky slash spoopy, if you will, and I'm going to put those on first. To help me randomize those, I'm going to use a random number generator to decide what spot they stick on. So basically there are 14 pieces on my wheel, 14 pieces, slices, whatever. There's 14 parts on my wheel. One of them already has 23 and 2023, which I'm leaving on there. Just like I did last month, if I land on it twice, I'll remove it and put a different prompt on there because I only want to read 2 23 and 2023 books. I've been saving these for October, so that's why I only want 2 of them. But we're going to go ahead and use a random number generator to place the rest of these. I will put the random number generator on the screen once I get it pulled up. But here are the cards that are going to go on first. Those are the series books and the like mandatory reads. So there are 13 slices. We're going to start number 1 right here on the blue and then just go clockwise around. So I'm going to set it from 1 to 13. And I'm going to generate it probably 3 times to get the first one just so I can make sure it's actually randomized. Let's get this. There we go. Screen recording. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. So number 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's the other light blue. And that's going to be A Gathering of Shadows. That is by V.E. Schwab. It's the second book in her Shades of Magic series. So let's go ahead and generate again. Number 3. And that one's going to be The Sinister Mystery of the Mesmerizing Girl, which is the 3rd book in the Athena Club series by Theodora Goss. So we got 1, 2, 3. Okay, generating again. Number 6. That is going to be the next Nancy Drew book, which is The Clue in the Crumbling Wall. And that's this yellow one. Okay, generating again. Number 3 is already done. 2, which is The Family Game. That is the Literally Dead book club pick for October. Okay. 8, I think we did already. Yep. 10. And that is the last like mandatory read. This is my buzzword pick. This is The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. The buzzword has to have magic in the title, and like the subtitle of this has magic in it. So that's the last one, and that is number 10. So it goes here on this purple one. Now I have the rest of the books that I'm hoping to read, or wouldn't mind reading would probably be the better option. So I'm going to go ahead and just mix these up. I'm going to flip them upside down, and I'm going to use the random number generator again just to pick where they're going to go, just to make it fair. So let's give them a little bit more of a shuffle. Whoops, I lost one. Okay, I'm going to flip them just upside down in a pile. That's how I'm going to pull them this time. I don't have like a bowl or anything. We're just going to go with it. So okay, so the wheel is set up. So now we're going to go ahead and spin it 5 times. I am not going to do more than 5 because I am also doing Spookoplathon. So let's just see what I get for spin number 1. Okay, perfect, because that is the next Nancy Drew book. This would be number 22, which is The Clue in the Crumbling Wall. Needed to read it anyway, so this is a good start. Okay, and we're going to replace that with the next in the pile, which is A House with Good Bones. This is by T. Kingfisher. Okay, let's go ahead and do spin number 2. Oh, perfect. Okay, so we've got The Language of Thorns, which I mentioned is my buzzword pick, by Leigh Bardugo. This is like novellas or something that are set in her Grishaverse. It's like the last book that I need to read in her Grishaverse, not counting King of Scars. I haven't started that series, so that will be this one. Another good pick. I needed to read it anyway. We will replace that one with The Daughter of Dr. Moreau, which is by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. Okay, spin number 3. Ooh, okay, I'm excited about this one. So this is Malice House. This is by Megan Shepherd. I'm not really sure exactly what it's about, but as I'd mentioned, I really liked her books that were based on the island of Dr. Moreau. She writes horror books basically, which I think is what this one is as well. So looking forward to giving this one a read. It's been on my TBR since I saw that she'd released it. Okay, we're going to replace that one with The Hacienda. Okay, spin number 4. Okay, perfect. This is The Family Game, which is the pick for the Literally Dead book club hosted by Kayla at Books and Lala. I needed to read this one anyway, so I love that it's actually officially on my TBR. Okay, and this will be the last replacement. We've got American Supernatural Tales. This is like a collection of short stories from like classic authors, and that will be the final pick for the wheel. And spin number 5. Okay. And it is The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. I have heard not great things about this one. I do know some people enjoyed it, but I believe Meg just read it and like didn't really love it. She only gave it 3 stars, so we'll see how I feel. But again, this is one that I've wanted to read since it was released, so we'll cross our fingers that I actually enjoy it. Okay, so now I'm gonna pause on here. That's going to be the end of my wheel of TBR. Now we're going to go ahead and play Becca's Spookoplathon and see what other books I'm going to be reading in October. Okay, so here is what my setup looks like. This is the board that Becca created. These are the cards. We have Community Shelf and Chance. For the Chance cards, I just took titles that I needed to read. So before I get started, I'll go ahead and go through them. So I had The Language of Thorns, the next Nancy Drew book, They Never Learn, which is one of the 23 and 2023s I'm hoping to read this month, The Family Game, and then also just a random TBR jar pick. Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell is another 23 and 2023 pick. And then we're back to the top. So those are the books that I had chosen for the Chance cards. I'm going to go ahead and just mix them up. And for Community Shelf, it's based on like a prompt, but I just wanted to stay within like the Halloween theme. So I have either a mystery thriller or a horror. So let's see. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and give those a mix as well. And that will be what I pick from if I land on any of those spaces. I'm going to use this paper clip as my little mover. I have 2 6-sided dice here. And the way Becca plays is she rolls 5 times. If she rolls a double, it adds an additional pick or an additional prompt. So that is how we will play it. And I'm going to keep these books right here, which I took off the wheel just to like remind myself to see if I can't fit those into some of the Spookoplathon prompts. So we'll go ahead and just lay those out just so I remember that these were the 5 I got. And now we're going to go ahead and play Spookoplathon. Okay, so here we go. And right off the bat, we've got a double. So that means I will be doing at least 6 rolls. So that is 2. 1, 2. We have Community Shelf. And we have a horror book. So let me see what I want to pick for horror. I'm pretty sure this one would technically be classed as a horror. I think this one also would be a horror. So let's go ahead and just to make it easy on myself straight off, I'm going to go ahead and do Malice House for the horror pick. So that will be number 1. Okay, here we go. We've got an 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Feed scroll. That could be tricky. So that means I need to go through my Goodreads and scroll and see if I can find a book that I want to read, which could mess with, you know, wanting spooky themed books, but let's give it a roll. Let me go ahead and screen record. Okay, so here we go. Oh, here's one. So we've got Wonderland by Jennifer Hillier, which I actually think might be like a thriller or something. So let's look. Yep. Edgy thriller about the gruesome secrets hidden beneath a small town amusement park. So at least that sticks with the vibes. So let me write that down. That will be the second pick. Okay, let's do number 3. Another double. Oh my, y'all. Okay, it's funny because I've played this 3 years in a row and I've never gotten doubles. So I guess this year's making up for it. So let me turn the board first of all. And we're going to go 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Mary Shelley. Let me look at what she said that meant because I can't quite remember. She does have like a whole book of rules. So let me look that up. Okay, so I went ahead and just screenshot it, but it says, a pioneer of horror back in the day, Mary Shelley is often credited with inventing the science fiction genre. Read a sci-fi or a book that has a sci-fi element, or read a book by Mary Shelley. Now, I've already read Frankenstein. I don't really want to read that again. So sci-fi, I think I know what I'm going to do for that. I'm going to go ahead and do Aurora's End by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff because that is on my series list anyway. So not quite what I wanted to do, but at least it will check off a series. Okay, we're up to 7 rolls, so here we go. All right, we have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one is Crows and Ravens. So again, let me look. I think that means it needs to have crows or ravens on the cover, maybe? Yep, it says, beware these harbingers of death. Read a book with a bird or features on the cover or a type of bird in the title. Okay, so let me take a look and see if any of the books I was wanting to read have like bird type things on the cover. And that's just lucky, y'all, because this one right here has a big bird, and this is one that I was wanting to read this month, so this is perfect. So for Crows and Ravens, I'm going to do Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell or Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clark. Okay, I just realized that I was not recording, so my fault, but I rolled an 8. So I was here on Crows and Ravens, so we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Jigsaw is a book that features a game, so I'm going to be picking the family game for this one. This is the Literally Dead book club pick, so that's an easy choice. That's what we're going to go with because I would assume it features a game. Okay, now we're going to roll again. This is roll number 6, and we've got 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Most recent purchase. Ooh, I know exactly what I'm going to pick for that because this is literally the only book that I purchased in the last month, and that is The Stranger Upstairs by Lisa M. Matlin, which was my book of the month for September. So that's what we'll go ahead and do for most recent purchase. Okay, and unless I roll a double, this should be the last roll. Okay, and we have a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It says they're burning the witches even if you aren't one. So this is like the train spot. Let me read exactly what she wrote about that. I think I remember. Okay, so these were her spaces that she based on Taylor Swift. So it says, this one is read a book featuring witches, the occult, cults, or rituals. Feel free to open to interpretation. So I have an option because The Last Housewife does deal with cults, but let me see because I think I might want to do like a witchy type book. So let me take a look at my list. So these were the books that I was kind of choosing from for this month. And let me see if any of them have witches. Okay, for this one, I'm actually going to go with The Gray Shear by Kim Liggett because I have wanted to read this one forever. forever. And while it doesn't specifically say anything about witches, if you like read the synopsis, it talks about girls being banished to release their magic into the wild. So I feel like that fits the vibe of witches. Plus it's pink, you know, Taylor Swift, pink. So I'm gonna go with this one because I really, really want to read this one. So that is going to be my final pick for Spookoplathon, or rather Spookoplathon. Okay, so now let's do a recap of everything that I'm hopefully going to be able to get read in the month of October. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with my spins from my Wheel of TBR. So I had The Clue of the Crumbling Wall, which is Nancy Drew number 22 by Carolyn Keene. I had The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo, which is my buzzword pick. I have The Last Housewife by Ashley Winstead. I have The Family Game by Catherine Steadman, which is the Literally Dead book club pick. And I had Malice House by Megan Shepherd. So those are the 5 spins. Now let's talk about Spookoplathon. I did write them down so that I don't forget. But for the first one, I landed on Community Shelf. I got horror. And for that, I'm going with Malice House by Megan Shepherd. The second pick was a feed scroll, and for that I will be reading Wonderland by Jennifer Hillier, which is on about like a haunted amusement park. Definitely fits the vibes. Very pleased with that one. The next one landed on Mary Shelley, which was to read a sci-fi, and for that I will be reading Aurora's End by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, which will complete the Aurora Cycle trilogy and a series on my 10 series to read in 2023. The next one landed on Crows and Ravens, which was to read a book with like birds on the cover, title, etc. So for that, I will be doing Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clark. This one's chunky, but it's on my 23 and 2023 list, so I was wanting to read it anyway. It's like about magic, magicians, which is why I wanted to read it in October. So this will be the pick for that. Then I landed on Jigsaw, and for that I again am going to do The Family Game by Catherine Steadman, the Literally Dead book club pick, features game in the title. Clearly it's about a game, so it works. Then I landed on Most Recent Purchase, and for that I am picking The Stranger Upstairs by Lisa M. Matlin. This was my book of the month pick for September. It's the only book I picked up in the month of September, so it's definitely my most recent purchase. And then the final space was the Taylor Swift inspired space, They're Burning Witches, Even If You Aren't One. And for that, I am choosing The Grace Year by Kim Liggett. I am very excited to read this one. I was really hoping I would get a chance to do it this month. So yay, I'm excited. I hope that I love this one. So I guess we'll see. Now, the only other book that I need to read that I didn't fit on the list is the second 23 and 2023 book, and that is going to be They Never Learn by Lane Fargo. It's, again, like a thriller mystery type book. I wanted to save it for October, so I will be reading that one as well. But overall, I am really, really pleased with this TBR. I think it's going to be a good time. And I will be doing my best to vlog during the month to bring you along, so stay tuned for those. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel if you would like to see more from me, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, everyone.